Hello and welcome to today's episode of Ranked. This time, thanks to this suggestion, I'm going to be ranking who, in my opinion, are the top 10 best Disney sidekicks. Let's get into it. Two things to consider. First, all sidekicks listed in this video will be restricted to the 62 films of Walt Disney Animation Studios. Second, I want to take a moment to define what a sidekick is. If a character just happens to be the main character's friend, or is a secondary character in the movie, I don't think that automatically makes them a sidekick. A definition I'm trying to follow is a companion or colleague who is, or is generally regarded as, subordinate to those whom they accompany. I feel that a sidekick has to, in some way, serve another character. It doesn't have to be as formal as taking direct orders, but I do want my sidekicks to be loyal and dedicated to another character, to an extent beyond just a helpful friend. I also want them to accompany this character for the majority of their movie. I'm gonna do my best to follow these parameters, but there's bound to be some gray area, so forgive me. The other criteria I'm looking at for this ranking is which sidekicks are the most helpful, impactful, and memorable. Now let's start the list. We're doing rapid fire honorable mentions. These are characters that either just missed the list or felt just outside of truly being defined as a sidekick. Feel free to debate me on some of these, but I went with my gut. Jiminy Cricket. He's so iconic, but he just doesn't give sidekick. He's a conscience, more of a mentor providing guidance. Tinkerbell. I'd say she's a sidekick, but she's not really here to help. This fairy marches to the beat of her own murder drum.
Don't you know you might have killed her?
Household objects. These guys are employees, but they don't really feel like sidekicks. Chip seems to qualify the most as he stows away and helps Belle and Maurice escape. LeFou. This guy created a whole anthem gassing up his man Gaston. That's iconic sidekick behavior. Genie. It's hard to call Genie a sidekick. He just feels bigger than that, and his service to Aladdin is not voluntary, even if he does grow to love him. I'd consider Abu more of a sidekick, but he sort of messes everything up.
Dumb bitch.
Iago. He's just funny.
I will have the power to get rid of you.
The hyenas. They'd be good contenders if they didn't turn on their leader and eat him. Stitch. More of a co-lead than a sidekick. Baymax. Similar to Stitch and Genie, he's too big to be relegated to sidekick. Baloo. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but same thing. He feels both too big to be a sidekick, but also just more of a friend. Joanna. She's also just very funny. My Australian queen.
Did you take one of my eggs? Open your mouth. These are not Joanna eggs.
Alright, now let's dive into the main list. These are my top 10 Disney sidekicks. Olaf carries a lot of weight in the Frozen films. He's extremely memorable and brings the bulk of the humor to the movies. And he lives to serve Anna and Elsa in whatever way he can. He has an inherent connection to the sisters as Elsa literally created him, and he takes most of Anna's journey alongside her in both films. He gives Anna a beautiful and powerful pep talk when she's at her lowest point in the first Frozen, and his positive spirit is a huge reason she's able to continue on.
Some people are worth melting for.
I'd like to give a little shout out to Sven, but for this list, Olaf felt like the right choice. While not particularly capable sidekicks, Pain and Panic are always there to at least attempt to do Hades' bidding. Their actions may be driven by a fear rather than a love of their boss, but they're so memorable and humorous that I just had to include them.
This might be a different Hercules. Yeah, I mean Hercules is a very popular name.
Another villainous sidekick, but not really. Kronk was never really a villain. And arguably Yzma wasn't either, because Kuzco sucked so much that he was basically the villain himself, but that's besides the point. Kronk is a himbo sidekick who's always there to help, but also has continuous moral dilemmas and just wants to bake. He's a fan favorite if there ever was one. Pascal is a pet, but for me, he reaches sidekick status by taking Rapunzel's whole daring journey alongside her. I honestly was going to include him on the list simply because he's cute and I like him, but then I remembered that he plays a big role in defeating Mother Gothel. It's up for debate whether or not he really kills her, because I think she was going to turn to dust and perish anyways, but the fall out the window was a much more intense ending and made doubly sure. All the mice in Cinderella deserve recognition for their purity of heart and always wanting to return Cinderella's kindness to her. But Jock and Gus Gus continue to go above and beyond. Whether it's facing off with Lucifer or climbing into the terrifying Lady Tremaine's pocket to retrieve the key and haul it up endless flights of stairs to free her, Cinderella would never have gotten her happily ever after without the help of these brave little guys. Staying on the mouse theme, this is one I believe deserves more attention. Timothy has no allegiance to Dumbo, but witnesses such wrongdoing towards him and feels so much empathy that he makes it his mission to help the big-eared elephant. Timothy aids Dumbo in visiting his mother and won't rest until he comes up with a way to make him the circus climax.
Climax! Dumbo, you're a climax!
Okay.
Without Timothy's help and encouragement, we never would have known what it's like to see an elephant fly. This is where we enter the upper echelon of Disney's sidekicks. Mushu may have maneuvered his way into being Mulan's guardian for selfish reasons, but his commitment to her is unwavering and evolves into a true love and partnership. They're both misfits with nowhere to truly belong, and what they achieve together is astounding. I have to admire Mushu's pure audacity, and he brings tons of comic relief. Our second entry from Hercules, although this time it's one from the good side. Pegasus was gifted to Hercules when he was a baby. Zeus literally created him to be his son's companion. They spent many years apart, but once they found their way back to each other, they are inseparable. Pegasus rose this high on the list because of his utility. He's a flying horse. That's extremely unique and valuable. Hercules wouldn't get anywhere without this guy, or at least he'd never get there fast enough. I love the design of Pegasus, and I love the little arc he undergoes regarding his feelings about Megara. Pegasus is a sidekick fit for a god. Sebastian starts out obsessed with two things: his music compositions and not upsetting King Triton. But when he's tasked with watching over Triton's favorite daughter, his life gets thrown into turmoil. He goes from snitching on Ariel to supporting her in her biggest dream. His shift from serving Triton to serving Ariel may be seen as a fault in loyalty, but I'm judging him as Ariel's sidekick, not her father's. The stakes are high and Sebastian is committed. Huge shoutouts to Flounder and Scuttle as they also love and assist Ariel as they can, but it's Sebastian that is directly there with Ariel during her whole time on land. He advises her, creates a song on the spot to help get Eric to kiss her, and even puts his own life in danger at times. I just love how the resistance he has to getting involved is in constant contention with his heart. And surprise, his heart wins. He's so memorable, has so much personality, and sings two separate songs. Ariel couldn't have done it without him, and The Little Mermaid would not be the same movie without this special little crab. We've got our third duo of the list, and in my opinion, the very best one. Timon and Pumbaa may naively tell Simba to simply not worry about his dead father and loss of everything he once knew.
Yeah, right.
But they also take him in and provide companionship. They give Simba a place when he has nothing. And when the time comes, they offer him unwavering support.
This is my home.
Oh, talk about your fixer-upper. Well, Simba, if it's important to you, we're with you to the end.
So even though Timon and Pumbaa may not be the most educated or tactful guys in the world, they're worth more than anything when it comes to the heart. Like many sidekick types, they generate so much comedy, and they also have an iconic song. For the functionality of their characters, Timon and Pumbaa are sidekicks, but to Simba, they're family. And that's the list. Thank you so much for joining me on this ranking of my top 10 Disney sidekicks. Do you agree with my list? Be sure to leave a comment below letting me know who you would have omitted or included. I'm ready to catch some heat over who I decided not to classify as sidekicks. If you liked this video, consider hitting like and subscribe, and head over to the Trove to find more Disney rankings, video essays, reviews, trivia, and more. Thanks again for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.